Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Um, Been a rough couple of days since learning of the white supremacist 21-year-old white young man. So much hate in his heart. It's just so devastating to think about as we just celebrated 60 years of the March on Washington, of Black people with strength and endurance and resilience to keep hoping that something will change. And on that same anniversary of 60 years ago, when you're trying to look for the progress, you're trying to look for all the wonderful things that we have done to strive to be a more perfect union, a democracy, a multiracial democracy, we see that white supremacy is still, if not even stronger, now with the internet and social media and being able to radicalize these young boys, these young men, these white men to hate so much. And to have 3 innocent people, 2 young men and a woman, just shopping, and to be brutally murdered because somebody is so filled with racial hate. You know, I think about one time when I was doing a preschool workshop with some preschool teachers and talking about the importance of talking about race and racism to children, even in preschool, right? There's ways that we can begin to have conversations. And she shared with me, the teacher, a white lady, had shared with me that she was reading a book one day, and all the kids were sitting around her, mostly all white children. And she was reading about Ruby Bridges and reading about the story of Ruby Bridges, the 6-year-old Black little girl entering into a school, an all-white school that didn't want her there, and sharing about what she experienced and how she was treated. And this white teacher said that she looked down, and this white little girl that was sitting right beside her tugged on her shirt and said, "I'm white, right?" And the teacher said, "Yeah, you're white." And she was like, okay, I'm white. And the teacher didn't know what to say. And it's interesting because this white child had already, in this one storybook, probably the first time she ever had realized that Black people were treated so horrifically and are treated so horrifically in this country, that she wanted to make sure she wasn't part of that group and wanted to make sure she was on the side that wasn't treated that way. She solidified making sure, I'm white, right? And I'm just wondering if that's how young that we internalize whiteness and internalize that somehow we escape from the racial terror, from all that Black and brown people, Indigenous people have endured in this country for the last 400 years. And I had so wished that she had said, yes, you're white, but we as white people need to stand up and speak up and show up and make sure that this does not happen to Black people, that we do not allow, in the name of white people, that this racial violence can happen. And so we are going to be allies. We are going to make sure that this does not happen. And as white people, that is our role. And that is the message that we need to give to white children, to make sure they understand their own humanity, to keep their own empathy and compassion, and not be able to be radicalized to hate so viciously, to kill. Because these gun laws are not going away. There's so many white people who are still fighting the Civil War, and they know that they would never have conquered this country and invaded this country without guns. They would have never committed the genocide or the enslavement of human beings without guns. And they lost the Civil War because of guns. So they're not going to give those up. So the only thing we can do as white people is to make sure that we as white people understand that, yeah, we're not the group that is enduring this oppression and violence. We're the group that's actually doing it. And so we need to stand up, speak up, show up, and do everything we can to make sure that this violence against all human beings ends. We have to show love and compassion to all of the children that are in this country, and watch and talk to our especially white boys. They are being radicalized right under our own noses. And there's so much that we can do. We cannot be silent and complicit in this any longer. We have to do better. This violence is going to continue, and it's going to get worse. And we can't believe that, oh, it doesn't happen to us. It's not our problem. No, it is our problem. It is definitely our problem. There's no way that you can convince me that it is not our problem and that it doesn't affect us. And I hope that honestly you don't believe that. There's so much that we need to do and that we can do. I hope we do.